on the Texas A&M Sports Network. From Learfield, live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue on Harvey Road in College Station. Welcome to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G. Brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. St. Joseph Health, the leading healthcare provider in the Brazos Valley and official healthcare provider of Texas A&M Athletics. And by The Pool Guide, a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Now, the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G.
Edition of the Aggie Soccer Hour. I'm David Ellis alongside his Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. Can you believe they have let us do this that long? I know.
It's all good. It's all good. It's great to be back.
It absolutely is. And we're coming back fresh off of a win this past Thursday in Beaumont, Texas against the Lamar Cardinals. The Aggies shut out the Cardinals 5-0. Got off to a great start. We have got a ton of stuff to cover tonight. Besides, we have got three players. Sydney Becerra, Grace Ivey, and Kat Campbell are going to be here. They'll be on live in just a few minutes. So all of them in that season opening win over Lamar. And Coach G, again, we've got so much to cover, but talk a little bit about the Lamar game. You must have been happy with the way the season started.
Of course, it was a great way to go. Obviously, a little worried because number one, Lamar coming off of another championship year for them. Last year they were really high in the RPI. They were going into the last week of the season. They were at number 50 nationally. And they know us very well with Nathan Kogut, a College Station boy and one of a former assistant coach for us here at Texas A&M, and knows us very, very well. And they're a dangerous team. They're a team that has scored a lot of goals in the last few years, and going onto their field with their crowd, we knew it was going to be probably a record crowd for them, and it was. And early in the season, you never know where the goals are going to come from. It's you're
right.
You're never really fully in tune and have all the dance moves down.
And you're starting a freshman keeper in her first collegiate game.
Yeah, well that was kind of the least of my worries, but yeah, of course. So all of those things go into play. Plus, you're on someone else's home stretch, so you just never know how all those things were. Now, that said, we're of course confident because we were returning 10 starters from our, from the NCAA tournament team from last year, and all that team is older, it's wiser, and we've added some pretty impressive pieces to it from the freshman class, but also from the transfer portal with some impressive experienced pieces, players that have played in the NCAA tournament, players who have played in the Final Four. So it's we've got a pretty good team.
So as you said, Mason Ferranda got her first shutout in the net for Texas A&M. Grace Ivey, her first goal for Texas A&M, had two that night. She got the brace, one in the first half, one in the second half. Sydney Becerra with 2 goals in the first half. That was number 7 and 8 on her career here at Texas A&M. And of course, in the second half, Kat Campbell came through her first goal in her first game as an Aggie. So,
which is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. And so I wanted to ask you a question. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, get you to comment on this. You did a lot of substitutions. You played just about everybody that was capable of playing, just about.
A lot of them, right?
And
well, it was hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
And you're in far southeast Texas.
Yes.
So it's super hot.
Yes, and humid.
Mm-hmm.
But you played a lot of players, everybody got some minutes. And there's not a lot of drop-off when you put fresh legs in there. I mean, it stays pretty much the same.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't drop off. As a matter of fact, when we make substitutions, you basically just kind of change the formula up a little bit.
Right.
And you credit a lot to the rest of our staff. I think Phil Stevenson and Alyssa Motz did a lot this past week with how the team was going to really kind of not just play, but kind of hit the accelerator when changes were going to be made. And when one of the changes that had to be made right before the game was one of our captains just kind of was under the weather, and so Anderson Williams wasn't able to start, and so 10 minutes before the match started, Phil kind of tap on the shoulder to Grace Ivey, hey, by the way, you're going to start today.
Right.
And so,
all she did is score 2.
Yeah. So, the shock therapy of getting her to go into the lineup, right there was obviously worked out pretty well. But that's the kind of depth that you talk about having, is the ability to, take your captain out and put in someone of the ability of Grace to step in and she scores a brace, or, you make one little adjustment out of the midfield, and all of a sudden now you can put in Leah Pirro. Leah Pirro's on the All-America, the Herman Trophy watch list, nationally. She steps in and changes the dynamic of how people can play against us, because we can put her on the front line, but she's on the All-America midfield list, so she floats and plays in between lines. Then you make another change and you bring in, Kennedy Clark, who's another player who is, officially a forward, a striker, a number 9, but she's also someone who kind of drifts in between those lines. And so for defenders,
same thing with Allison Lowry.
Right. So the defenders are like, do I follow her? Do I stay deep? How do I play? And you could hear the Lamar coaches always, telling their players, step up, because they were always falling so deep. We had to score from, far out, because their defense had dropped so far deep to protect the space in behind them. So, our goals were scored from, about 12, 18, 25, 30 yards out sometimes. And, credit to our players to be able to score from those distances. Those are a little unusual for the most part.
So I had a question that I was asked several times, and it's a question that I had myself. When I first saw the schedule, I went, why are we going to play Lamar in Beaumont? Nothing against Beaumont. I was born and raised in Baytown. They're not much different, okay? I get it.
A lot of nice people in Beaumont.
Absolutely, and a lot of nice people in Baytown. I understand all that. But that was the first thing I was going, why are we going to Beaumont? And then I found out the answer, and it made total sense. In fact, I thought, great scheduling and a smart move. You want to talk about that for just a second?
Well, sure. Number one, you want to play good teams, and Lamar's a good team. The 5-0 score it makes it look like they weren't, but they are a good team, and they're going to do well again this year. They're the favorites to win their league again. But the way that the NCAA tournament is determined is through the RPI, which is a ratings percentage index, and that ratings percentage index comes down to beating teams that win games. You get points for that. And then beating teams that win games on the road, you get a little bit more than winning games at home. So if we can beat teams that win games, a lot of games, like Lamar, and beat them at their place, we get a little bit more credit than if we were to beat them here at Ellis Field. And since our home, our students weren't here yet, we can, and it's harder and harder, to be honest. It's harder and harder to get just buy games here. By that you mean by buy games, you mean paying a team to come play Texas A&M. Just a one-time game to come and play here. So, a lot of these teams that are mid-majors that are good, they know their value, and so they're oftentimes are going to have to do home and away games. And so a lot of times we can get to where they'll come to us twice and we'll go to them once. Texas A&M is a marquee game, and so on top of that, Nathan is a friend of ours, and he's a colleague of ours, and he's someone who has means a lot to us. So we want to try to help them out when we can. And this was a win-win situation. It was an opportunity for us to go and help them out. It was a record attendance for them.
Yes, it was.
They had all of their cheerleaders there. They had their band there. They had the drum corps there. They had a lot of folks that were there. And for us, it was an opportunity to play a team that's going to be good in the RPI. They're going to win games, and for us to get a good win on the road. Exactly. So that's a game that win will pay off down the road when you start looking at RPIs and the selection committee starts. And now we become Cardinals fans. We want them to win as much as we possibly can. Every game they play. You got it. So that was the reason. And it makes total sense, I think, now that you hear it, because like I say, I got asked that question a lot, and I was going, well, I don't really know, but I'm going to ask. So anyway, all right. So we go down to Beaumont and play the Cardinals and have a good result there.
And then you come back, and we've got a huge week coming up. 2 games and then a big event on Friday night. We're going to talk some more about that. We played Denver on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and then Fairfield at 8 p.m. on Saturday. Both games are going to be on the SEC
These
Network.
are 2 more games that are just like we talked about with Lamar. These are 2 teams where people are like, okay, I don't really know that much about these 2 teams, but these are 2 teams that are always at the top of their conferences.
Well, Denver has won the Summit League, like 5-6 years in a row, I think?
A lot. They're always up there. Jeff Hooker was their coach for a long time, did a great job there. And now he retired, and now the coach who's there now is a bit of a legend unto herself, former teammate of Alyssa Mott's with the Chicago Red Stars. And so she's now stepped in and has just kind of taken the mantle and is taking it one step further, and is a super competitive, very, very good young coach, and is same thing. It's just kind of kept the Pioneers moving in the same direction.
Yep, and then Fairfield on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. So not many soccer games on 8 o'clock. It's the only thing going on in town. It'll be cooled off. It'll probably be in the low 90s by then. And
maybe.
But and there's part of me that pities those poor young women from Connecticut, but not too much. So anyway, it's should be a great game, and it's the Fish Camp game. We're going to have a great crowd. And it's an exciting game, and it's well worth coming out to.
And a good opponent, really good opponent.
Yeah, they are a good opponent. Fairfield, you may not hear a lot about them in this part of the country, but trust me, they are good. Denver, for example, in their first game of the year, they played University of North Carolina.
Straight up.
Yeah, straight up, and only lost 2-1. In fact, got up 1-0, and Carolina had to come from behind to beat them. Mm-hmm. I mean, Denver is a good team, so it's going to be a test for Texas A&M. These are not walkovers by any means. But, again, you need to come out to Ellis Field, 7 o'clock on Wednesday, 8 o'clock on Saturday. Both games, if you can't make it, are going to be on the SEC Plus network. Jeff Gibb and I will have the call there, and they will also be on 97.3 FM, the same station you're listening to right now, as well as on the 12th Man mobile app and radioaggieland.com if you're anywhere else on the planet. So you'll be able to listen to the game as well as watch it on Wednesday and Saturday night. But come on out to Ellis Field. I'm telling you something. This team is fun to watch. This team goes 100 miles an hour all day long, and they are fun. So you owe it to yourself. I think we about beat that game to death, I believe.
Well, and it kicks off the entire calendar for Texas A&M sports. It's it basically gets everything going. Volleyball is right behind us, and then football is not too far behind with a big game against Notre Dame. But that's a week out. With school just starting yesterday, anyone who's been driving around the campus area of town knows that school is here. So. I'm excited because now with the students back on campus, the buzz is back in the air, and I'm excited about getting the 12th man back at Ellis Field. Yeah,
my wife and I decided we were going to go out and eat last week because we figured it'd be the last time we'd get in a restaurant until about December. So, so that's going to be that's all going on this weekend, and we're going to talk later on about an event at the kickoff event that's going to happen at 8:30 on Friday night at Stage 12 there in Brookshire Brothers Grocery right across there on George Bush, right across from the Aggie Soccer Stadium. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a great event. So we're going to take our first break of the night, and I should say, it takes a village to get Coach G and I on the air and to keep us on the air, and we've got Blake back at the studio, Kevin is over here running the board. Michael set everything up. We're grateful for Brian Broadcasting and their support of Texas A&M Soccer. So we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Texas A&M Soccer on Learfield. All righty, we are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis, and we are joined by 3 Texas A&M soccer players, and I'm going to give them proper introductions here in just a minute. But before I forget again, I should tell you that there are cards on each one of the tables with some pencils. If you have questions for either one of these players or for Coach G when we get into the next segment, write them down, bring them up here, and I will ask them. And, for the players, the more embarrassing, the better. So whatever you want to, feel free to ask them whatever you want. All right, now, First, let me introduce everybody here that's up here on the dais with me. To my immediate left is sophomore forward from Jacksonville, Florida, Grace Ivey. And in the middle, a junior from Flower Mound, Texas, Sydney Becerra. And then on the far end, the freshman from Frisco, Texas, is Kat Campbell. So coincidentally, all three of these players scored goals on Thursday night. And so one of the traditions here that we have, you know, if you followed this show, we always have a commercial that we have to read from Rudy's Barbecue. And I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we started having one of the players read the commercial. And they've done pretty good. And matter of fact, Kat, we always get the freshman, the new player, to read the commercial. And so, Kat, we have done this now, like I say, for 4 or 5 years, every show. I don't know how many shows that is, but it's a lot. And I will let you know that we have not had a player yet mess this up, okay? So you know, you don't want to be the first. So are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, do it.
Okay, the 12-Man Foundation is the official fundraising organization and ticket provider for Texas A&M Athletics. Support a 75-year legacy and help shape the future of Aggie Athletics by donating today at 12manfoundation.com.
There you go. Fantastic. Absolutely great. So you made it through.
I did it.
The streak continues. All right, so again, to my immediate left is Grace Ivey, and got your first goal.
It did.
Like, what, 10, 11 minutes into the game. That
Yes,
had to
sir.
feel great.
Oh, it was amazing.
So what did you, Coach Stevenson came up to you and said, hey, you're starting because Andy's sick. What went through your head?
Yeah, well, I knew Andy wasn't feeling too good, and so I kind of tried to mentally prepare myself a little bit, but then, yeah, Phil came up to me like 10 minutes before the game started and was like, hey, like, you're in, and so get ready. And I was like, okay.
Well,
so,
you know,
didn't give me much time to freak out, so it was
but
good.
in a lot of ways, that's probably helpful. You didn't get to think about it
Yeah,
too much, right?
no,
You just
exactly.
had to go out there and just play, just you be you, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
And not only scored that first goal, but then came back and scored one later on. Now, Sydney Becerra, who is in the middle here, Sid, all she was this week was on the Top Drawer Soccer National Team of the Week, which is not too shabby. And so both of you guys, actually Grace and Sid, you guys now, you know, I don't want to set you up, but I mean, you guys are on pace to score about 40 goals this year. So I just wanted to let you know there's no pressure.
No
or anything.
pressure.
Yeah, just wanted to let you know. And then, of course, and on the very end down there, we mentioned Kat Campbell. Kat comes in from Frisco, Texas. And so, Kat, I always ask, you know, I know you could have gone to play soccer at a lot of places. What made you come here at Texas A&M? I think I kind of know, but tell everybody.
Well, whenever I came on my visit, it was honestly just such a surreal experience, just like everything that Aggies have to offer and all the tools that this school has. And of course, like, the girls were amazing, and it was a given that I was going to come here.
Yeah, I mean, reading here that you had 3 cousins, 2 uncles, and an aunt that attended Texas A&M, right? Did you ever even have a chance to go anywhere else?
Well, actually, both of my parents went to UT, and my sister's at UT, so it was kind of a big deal in my immediate family. I'm kind of the traitor of my immediate family, but yes.
Congratulations for overcoming that, and we are glad you are here. And Sid, you know, you come back, you score, you had a great year. Every year you've been here at Texas A&M, you've scored more and more goals, you know, and then you get 2 in the very first game. And that first one, I believe it was the first one, it was from about 30 yards out, I think. It was an absolute rocket. I mean, you buried it into the back of the goal. I mean, did it feel as good as it looked?
No, it felt really good. It definitely felt really good, yeah.
I mean, you just nailed that ball. And is that working on your shot like that, to be able to hit a shot that precisely right on the equator of the ball to get it to do that? I mean, you have to spend a lot of time working on that, right?
I do spend a lot of time working on it, especially over the summer. Like when I was training with my summer team, I spent a lot of time working on my shot. And then, like, my coaches always say too, like, the goal doesn't move. Right. So as long as you hit it on target and get over the ball and get it on frame, it's probably going to go in.
And you've kind of really settled into that position in the midfield. You like playing there? I mean, it kind of gives you an opportunity to see the field and kind of direct the play to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, I've always played in the midfield, so it's just like where I'm more comfortable.
All right, and Grace, we've got to ask you, I mean, again, you scored your first goal. You got in here, you were one of the few players, maybe the only player last year that didn't come in the spring. You came in the fall, right, which made it a little bit more difficult for you to kind of get in the routine. But do you now finally, after going through a spring season, kind of feel like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I feel comfortable now.
Definitely more than last year. I mean, it was really hard because everyone else kind of had the spring to get acclimated, you know, so I was just kind of thrown in there in the fall, and then so I think this spring, definitely the fall, and this spring really helps me a lot, and I feel much more comfortable.
So just so you'll know, Grace, when she was in high school, she was the 2-time Gatorade High School Player of the Year in Florida. And if you know, I mean, if you think about how many really, really good soccer players in Florida, that's saying something. How did you end up at Texas A&M?
It really just kind of, to second what Kat said, I came on my visit and I just kind of fell in love with it. I mean, none of my other visits were like even compared to A&M. I loved the people here. I think the people here really make the place, and I just felt so wanted, and everyone made me feel so comfortable here. So. Well,
you certainly are, and so let's talk a little bit about your guys, the impression of this team as you've gone through the spring and then into the fall through training camp and now, you know, into the thick of the season. Sid, you've been around again. This is your third year at Texas A&M. Talk about this team and kind of what you see that's different in this team.
I think just the hard work we put in, and I feel like we all just support and want the best for each other, regardless of who's on the field like at the time. I think we all just support each other and want the best for each other. And when you work as a collective, I feel like it just comes so much easier.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've noticed. And also, as Coach G and I were talking about in the first segment, you've got so much depth, so many good players. It's almost like plug and play in a lot of ways, right?
Oh, yeah. As he said, like, it doesn't change. It doesn't, like, dip at all. It's just different. You know, we just play a little bit different. Yeah, we have a lot of depth.
But that difference also is a difference for the team you're playing, too, because they maybe have to defend you a little bit differently, right, because of a different combination of players that's out there.
For sure.
So, Kat, I wanted to ask you about, you know, again, you're coming in, you were here in the spring, but now going through summer and into the fall. I mean, talk about the difference between playing club ball and high school ball than the kind of soccer you're playing right now.
Oh, yeah, it's so different. I mean, the pace of play is so much faster in college, and the girls are so much bigger and stronger. Like, everything is just a step ahead. But I think graduating early and getting acclimated in the spring is such a big deal. I know our whole class is so glad that we graduated early. It's just such a great time to continue to develop and get used to the college game. And so when the fall got here and season got here, I'm just being ready and prepared for everything.
When you entered the game Thursday night, few butterflies?
Yeah, I was so nervous.
I can imagine.
No, but good nervous, good energy.
Yeah, well, and plus you'd been playing in the spring too, so that bound to help a little bit.
It did, for sure.
So, Grace, I was in your neighborhood this summer, as a matter of fact.
No way.
Yes. Flew into Jacksonville, went to St. Augustine.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
That's
the
crazy.
coolest place my wife and I have ever been.
Oh, so cool.
We absolutely loved it. We really, really did. It was a lot of fun. So, all right, tell me the thing that you're looking forward to this week in the two games that we have with Fairfield on Saturday night and with Denver on Wednesday night. What are you looking forward to the most? Grace, I'll start with you.
I think just scoring some more goals. I mean, it's so fun when we get out there and we play how we know we can play, because we know we're prepared and we know that we've been working so hard day in and day out. And I think just going out there and doing what we know we can do.
And two makes you a little greedy, doesn't it?
No, not really.
Sid, what about you? I mean, again, this is your third year around, so you're more used to this. But what are you looking forward to the most?
What I'm looking forward to the most, probably just continuing what we've already started. We've started the season obviously very, very good, very, very strong. So just continuing that pattern, and hopefully it just keeps getting better and better throughout the season. And
Kat, I have to ask you, you're going to walk out Saturday night, play soccer in front of 6,000 folks.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I'm so excited. I'm excited for both the Denver game and the Fairfield game. But the Fish Camp game, I remember last year, I went whenever we played Baylor, and it was just insane. looking around and seeing how many people, just like the 12th band, coming out to support. So to get to play in front of all those people is such an honor, and I'm so excited.
Well, we are glad that all three of you are here. They're key components of what will be the Texas Aggies' success this year, and looking forward to the rest of the season. Again, to my left, Grace Ivey. In the middle, Sid Becerra. And on the right, it is Kat Campbell. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you taking time to come out and visit with us.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for the second segment. Coach G and I are going to come back, and we're going to talk about the kickoff event that is going to be at Stage 12 at Brookshire Brothers on Friday night. And then we're going to talk a little bit. NIL has been a huge part of the discussion. And scholarships and all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then also about the Aggie Soccer Club and what that does to Texas A&M soccer. We're going to talk about all that stuff in the next segment. So hang around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour on Learfield. All righty, we are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis, and you know, soccer and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood, and Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs and 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. You and I came in here for lunch just about, a week ago, and man, it was good stuff.
It was.
It was really, really good. I had some turkey.
Always is, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's the thing about here at Rudy's. It's
consistently good.
It's always. And then the fact is, like, based on the weather, can come in. I just had some of the turkey a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Because a little hot out there. I think the turkey is always good on a hot day.
And then when it is gets finally cools off, and it will eventually, at that green chili stew.
Yep. And I think the baked potatoes is kind of something that works out well.
We got to stop this. I'm getting hungry. Okay. You and I were talking about, you've got a big event this Friday night. It's the first time we've done this, and it ought to be a lot of fun. It is going to be the Aggie Soccer Kickoff event. It's 8:30 Friday at Stage 12 at Brookshire Brothers. There on George Bush, kind of right across from the track stadium. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking at it, if you haven't been, when you're looking at Brookshire Brothers, it is on the left-hand side. You'll see it. You can't miss it, Stage 12. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, it kind of the idea of this started about a year ago. We're just kind of having conversations with our friends over at Texags,
right?
And they're like, we really want to, kind of put a little bit more punctuation in what is going on with Texas A&M soccer. You guys have always been such a great program, and we want to try to shine some more light on it. We'd love to, we do a big kickoff event for football. We'd love to do one for women's football. And we're like, okay, sounds good to us.
Where do we sign?
And so that kind of got going, and we were like, well, there's not really a venue that we could do something. And then it kind of came to us this summer that, well, dang, Stage 12 is the perfect venue. And Brookshire Brothers and Stage 12 are an official, they're the official watch party home of Aggie Athletics. And anyone who hadn't been over to that, quote, supermarket, it's not your usual supermarket. It's got the outdoor stage area is, it's got a stage. I think it seats maybe 400 or 500 people. It's covered. It's got, fans outside. It's got 2 big bars, concession area. It's great. And it's connected to the Brookshire Brothers store, which is like no other Brookshire Brothers in the state of Texas. It's, it's super clean. It's got, it's got deli, it's got everything else, and it's right across the street from campus. And it's where it is. It's right between campus and Park West, which is where a lot of our athletes and a lot of students, about 4,300 students, live. So we're like, yeah, that is the place where we should do something. So what this event is going to be, it's 2 parts. It's kind of hit towards 2 audiences. One, it's going to be for hyping up the new season, and kind of because we have so many young players that are going to be coming in that weekend for the Aggie Land Friendlies, which is a big youth tournament that's going to be playing this Saturday and Sunday out at Veterans Park. We'll have about 150 youth teams in town, so even more traffic for everybody. You're welcome. So all of that will be going on here in Bryan College Station, and games will be going on out there, but this will be all girls teams. And so this will be kind of pinpointed towards them and obviously highlighting our players. So, we want a lot of those players to come out and their families to come out. And this will be all about kind of giving information about our players and the program and everything else. So it'll be hosted by Allie Russell, who works for TexAgs, and David Nuno will be the two hosts. And we'll have, some of our players. You'll have Alyssa Motz, who's our assistant coach, as well as a former 10-year NWSL player. So you'll have a little bit of a panel. I'll be up there as well. And a lot of music, a lot of fun. There'll be, the bars will be open, the food will be there. And then in addition to that, we'll also have a VIP area, which will be, it'll be an upcharge as far as for the VIPs. They'll have access, obviously, also to the coaches, to the players. And then we'll also be talking about some of the other things that are going on with the program, including trying to launch our NIL program. And, at the moment, we don't really have an NIL program for women's soccer. And
right.
I know there was a big article that came out in the Eagle about maybe 2 weeks ago talking about, the millions and millions and millions of dollars being spent on athletes here at Texas A&M and NIL. So it kind of, it'll kind of be a follow-up to a little bit of that, talking about how that works and how a lot of that can work for student athletes, because NIL has been name, image, likeness, can be a bit of an equalizer, especially when you talk about in sports like ours, which are equivalency scholarship sports.
Explain what that means for folks who may not know.
So there's two types of scholarships in NCAA. There's head count sports and there's equivalency scholarship sports. Head count sports are sports like football and basketball and volleyball and women's tennis. So those four sports, if you're on a scholarship, you get a full scholarship. You get all of your tuition, all of your books, all of your fees, plus cost of living. Everything is taken care of. You are taken care of. Everything is all there. And
so those are called head count sports.
That's a head count sport. Okay. So football has 85 of those. Tennis, I think, has all of their players plus a few others have those. Volleyball has 12 of those. Basketball, women's basketball has 15 of those. Men's basketball, I think, has 13 of those. So those guys are all taken care of.
Right.
Then there's the equivalency sports. And equivalency sports means that you have an equivalent number of scholarships, and you can break those scholarships up, and everybody has a little piece, and they try to touch as many players as they possibly can.
So soccer has how many scholarships?
14 scholarships.
So 14 scholarships that are spread out among
the roster.
Right.
Right. And we have 32 players on our roster.
Yeah. So you may have somebody getting a 25% scholarship, right? Or
a lot less.
Or a lot less.
Right. And so for here at Texas A&M, it's the opportunities to get money on top of that are very much limited compared to other schools. Other schools who have the ability to what they call stack academic money on top of that. We don't have the ability to do that, or to stack other scholarship money on top of that. So at Texas A&M, we have the equivalency of 14 scholarships, and that's all we have.
Yeah, so let's talk about something like, for example, say LSU or Vanderbilt or something like that. Talk about what they can do versus what that
right.
A&M can't do.
Right. A lot of times schools can. They have private scholarships, or they have deals in their state. So, for example, in Georgia, if you graduate from a high school in Georgia with a B average, you get free tuition and fees taken off. Doesn't cost anything for you. Same thing in Florida. If you graduate with a B average, you get free tuition and fees. So that's about almost 30% of school that doesn't count.
And then so when you put a little academic scholarship on top of, athletic scholarship on top of it, you can come close to covering. It becomes equivalent to a full scholarship.
Correct. So that money really stretches far. In a lot of places, like in Arkansas, if your state touches Arkansas, you get in-state for
in-state tuition.
That's right. So they waive out-of-state fees. Same thing in Oklahoma. If you can breathe, you get an in-state tuition if you're from Texas. So a lot of places like that, they can do that. Here we don't have to do that because so many people want to come to school here. We don't have to give incentives to waive out-of-state fees.
And so we don't.
And so we don't. And so this is a this is an issue.
So you're kind of competing with a short stick just a little bit.
Correct. So you can look at how NIL has had a great effect on baseball, for example.
Right.
So our baseball team really took advantage of how NIL could level that playing field by taking this NIL money on top of scholarship money, and now all of a sudden use NIL as extra money on top of scholarship money, and that's how, when you use it right, how did the baseball team do?
Yeah.
They went to the World Series championship game
Right.
all the way because finally that money was able to be used. So
and they could get great players in here because
correct.
of it. Because
so baseball has
you're competing with
baseball
all of
has
these
11.7 scholarships officially. That's what Texas A&M has.
Right.
But they're competing against LSU, who has the equivalent of about 18. Vanderbilt, who I'm going to assume has about 34.
Right.
And other people who have the different. It's just the money doesn't count the same at those other schools. So NIL is an equalizer in a lot of ways. So a lot of other schools have very good. Texas, for example, has very good money.
University of Texas.
It has very good money flowing into their soccer programs, and we don't. So we're just trying to find a way to become a little bit more competitive along those lines. In addition to that, we're going to talk to a lot of those people about the next step of us trying to kind of upgrade our facility to be a little bit more like the men's facilities here at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of a lot of that, just trying to help people to understand a little bit where things are and where we're trying to take the next steps to take our program.
This was quite an education for me because I assume, like just about everybody else, that everybody kind of competes on the same basis. And they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
It's apples and oranges.
You've got 14 scholarships, and then Georgia, Florida, LSU, Vanderbilt. They have got basically the net effect is they've got more scholarships than that. They may have 16, 18, 20, whatever the case is, and you don't.
Right. So all we're saying is if we can compete on an even plane,
right.
we compete pretty well.
Right.
So like for example, in the transfer portal, we do pretty well when we are on a level basis competing. I think Phil made the comment last week, and we're really good speed daters. We can do really, really well in the short term as far as when kids are coming in and just comparing straight up, we do really, really well. But we want to try to do whatever we can to try to level that playing field, right. So that then we are just straight comparisons. And
the analogy that I used that worked for me is that most people think with football and basketball and stuff that are head count sports where you get a 100% scholarship, period, end of story. You have to deal more with kind of a salary cap in the sense that you've got X amount of scholarships, okay, and you've got to spread that out among players. And so another team comes in and says, well, you can come to our school and we're going to give you more money. And so they go, oh, okay. So they end up maybe going there because they can get more money from that school than they can from Texas A&M because they got those extra funds to draw on, and you don't. So.
Right, and you've got to basically just kind of show that, okay, well, you can go there and get less education or less this or less that or less experience. And it's tough. Times can be hard for a lot of families, and you got to do what you got to do. And then it comes down to, okay, what's the value? What is the value of that compared to the value of this? And we would like to just find ways to make things level so that when it comes time for comparing that, there's just no comparison.
Right.
And that's where we want to try to be.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, our last break, and it'll be the sprint to the finish. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road from Learfield. We're live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. I'm David Ellis alongside the head coach of Texas A&M Soccer, starting your 32nd year. Can you believe that?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is. And by the way, I got to find this right here because I need to let people know this. You are among victories among active coaching leaders. You are second all time in the NCAA. 511 victories, 176 losses, and 51 ties. And that's how good it is and how fortunate we are.
That's how lucky I've been, really, to be in one place for this long, and to be in this place for so long has been just really blessed that I talk about all the time that for my kids to have been born, all three of my kids been born at St. Joseph Hospital in Bryan, to have all, grown up through College Station schools, to all have, gone to Texas A&M, and it's pretty amazing that they all have pretty much lived in the same house, and for their dad to be a college coach is unheard of.
Well, it is, and it happens very seldom. But then again, there are very few coaches that have the record that you have. So, and along with 17, 18 conference championships, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's a lot. By the way, I would be remiss also if we didn't say happy birthday to Kurt Magnuson.
Yep, yesterday was his
39th birthday.
And again,
something like that.
Yep.
Again. And Kurt, just so in case you don't know, Kurt is the one who makes the trains run on time in terms of the soccer program. He really, really does.
He's our director of operations.
Right.
And again, a good family man, and someone who grew up here in Bryan and in College Station, and has been a part of our program for a long, long time.
So, what can you tell us? We talked a little bit about Denver and their record in the Summit League in their conference, winning 5, 6, 7 conference titles in a row, whatever it is. What can you tell us a little bit about Fairfield?
So Fairfield comes in undefeated. They are 2-0. They beat Holy Cross on the first night of the season, and then I came from behind to beat Holy Cross, and then the other night they beat Central Connecticut State, which is a team that we are going to go and play later in the month. As a matter of fact, this is the only show that we're doing in
I was going to mention
August. And then we will come back. As a matter of fact, when we come back from our trip to Connecticut, will be the next time that we're back on the air. They went to Central Connecticut and beat the Demons 1-0 in a driving rainstorm up in the Hartford area. But Fairfield are a really good side, and I know that sounds like coach talk, but it's true. They are a team that is senior dominated. They've got a striker up front, number 10, who is really sophisticated. She's very intelligent on the ball. She plays with her head up. She can find her teammates. Her teammates are really good in the runs that they make off of her. She's a target. She's a playmaker. She's a goal scorer. She scored the goal on Sunday night against Central Connecticut, and she's someone who I see playing at the next level next year, and someone who we have to know where she is all the time. But not just her, the other players who are making darting runs off of her. They can play direct. They can build. They can do a lot of things, and they don't make dumb mistakes. So they're well coached. They're really organized, and they're gonna come in. I think they're gonna go watch the Dash play on Friday, and then come up here for the game on Saturday. So it'll be I'm telling you, it's people don't know the Stags off the top of their head, but they're a good team. As a matter of fact, the reason that my daughter knows who they are is because of thing on social media. Soccer girl problems started with some players from that team. I don't know if they were ragging on their coach or what it might be, but it ended up being like a hashtag, and then it became a thing. It became a thing, and it all started there with that program, which is kind of cool.
So one thing Coach G touched on. So we will not have. This will be our last soccer show until September 17th. So we won't have the next 3 Tuesdays. We will not have an Aggie Soccer Show. What this is doing is that is what all the other sports are doing: football and volleyball and etc. So we're going to they wanted us to get in sync with them, and we said, hey, okay, great, we'll do that, but give us August 20th so we can tell people about all the stuff we got coming up this weekend. And they said, yeah, okay, fine.
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of it is they just don't want to put up with us griping is part of it. But
don't let the old guys whine. Is kind of what it was.
I think they felt sorry for us. So so we'll be back on September 17th, and the interesting thing about that is that we'll be back on a Tuesday, September 17th at 6:00, just like normal. And then that Thursday, we start SEC play. And from then on out, it is SEC. So timing-wise, it works out pretty good. We'll be able to recap the non-conference part of the season and go straight into the SEC season.
Hopefully we still are undefeated and rolling. It's and we got some big games between now and then.
We do.
It's all starting this week, and then even as we kind of keep it rolling, there's a lot of big ones.
Baylor's on the road, just down the road in Waco. We got TCU at home. Look at the schedule. We got some good games coming up. All right. One other thing, on a personal note, I want to wish my dad. I know he's listening. 97th birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday.
On Thursday, I took him to, honest to goodness truth, I took him to his weightlifting session this morning. And, the guy's just absolutely amazing. So, anyway, happy birthday, Dad. And so, again, 7 o'clock against Denver on Wednesday, and then 8 o'clock on Saturday against Fairfield. And you can watch it on the SEC Network, SEC Plus, 12th Man Mobile app, Radio Aggieland app. But come on out to Ellis Field. I'm telling you, you're going to want to watch this team play soccer. They are fun to watch, and you're going to be glad you did. I promise you that. And come on out, particularly, Saturday night, we're going to have that huge crowd. But then also on Wednesday night, it'll be the first home game is always special. So come on out.
The other thing too, with new food trucks will be out there because concessions have changed up. So got a couple food trucks and everything there in the northwest corner. So some new tastes out at Ellisfield. Was trying out the new pizzas that they've got. So pizza ovens and everything else out there.
All righty, this is when I have to do it. I got to tell you that this is a copyrighted broadcast. It's an exclusive presentation of Learfield IMG College under broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield IMG College. Announcers are provided by Learfield IMG College and Texas A&M University. For G Guerrieri, I'm David Ellis. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the 17th. Gig 'em.